Looks like we'll start with a question from Brendan Batchelor.
Hi, Jim. Just your thoughts on signing Nils today and how pleased you are to get him under contract.
Yeah, well, we're excited, to get him signed up and get him turning pro. He had a good year last year. He's an exciting, skilled player. Another one of a group of our young forwards that, we think can give us offense going forward. So, we're excited. We've been talking to him, this last little while, and we finally got it done yesterday, and so we were able to announce it today.
Where do you think he's seen the biggest growth in his game from when you drafted him up until now?
Well, he's not a very tall player in stature, but he's strong, and he protects the puck really well, and, he buys time to make plays and to, get his looks at the net. So he's a hardworking kid. We really like, his character, wants to be a player, wants to be, a real good player in the league and a player that can play in the top six. So, we're excited for the next step in his progress, signing, and then, come to training camp, and we'll see where he's at, and then we'll decide from there where he plays next year.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts on where he might fit in? Do you think he could be a player that could contend to make the NHL roster next year?
Well, he could, because, he played in the Swedish Elite League this year, never looked at a place, played, in the top 9. And that's kind of where I see him playing in the NHL is, he'll be a top 9 player. And I think, once he's, up and going, and after he has a year or two under his belt, I think he'll be a top 6 player for us. So, but we'll just, we got him signed today. He's the next step is to get to training camp and see where he fits in with everybody else, and then we'll decide from there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ian McIntyre's next.
Hey, Jim, what is it about Hoglander's game that you think will translate to the NHL, being the size that he is?
Well, like I talked about, he's got the physical strength to protect the puck, to hang on to the puck. He has the vision to, see where the players are on his line, and, he can buy time and space by protecting the puck, and then he can make good plays. So from the top of the circles down, like, we think in tight spaces, he's quick. He can jump into holes, and, he's a smart. He's got good offensive instincts, and, so that's where we think the strengths of his game are. He's going to have to learn how to play on the smaller ice sheet. The players over here are going to be bigger and stronger. The defensemen are better, so he's going to have to adapt to the North American game. But the way he plays and, his courage level and stuff, I don't think he'll have a problem doing that.
When we talk about the Canucks young players, there's obviously this group that you already have at the NHL level with Pettersson and Hughes and Besser, and even Bo's not an old player. People, I think, put Podkolzin kind of in that group as well. Would you put Hoglander in that group eventually? Yeah. Is that his caliber?
Yeah, I put Podkolzin in that group.
Hoglander as well?
Vasily, yeah, I think both of them go in that group. They're both, they're different players, but Colson is, he's a bigger, stronger kid. Plays a different game where he'll get to the puck first, or he'll, forecheck and knock the guy off the puck, and then make plays with the puck. Where Hoglander he uses his speed and skill more, where he'll get the puck through the neutral zone, and he'll use his quickness to get into the offensive end, and he can turn on a dime, and he buys time and space that way to make plays. But I think they're both going forward. They're both going to be in our top 9 and both of them have an outside chance to be top 6 players for us.
And one last one for me. I know that you don't put put any limitations on guys when they come to training camp, but if it turns out that Nils Hoglander needs to go to Utica, does he have the right attitude that you can tell to go there and take it as a positive development step?
I think so. You don't know for sure till you go through that process. He's a guy that, he's come to development camp last year. So he knows a little bit about our organization and the way we do things. But let's just wait and see. Let's just, see if, we start camp here or when we start camp, where he fits in. And, we'll see, if he's ready to make the jump right now, then that's great. But if he needs some development time, we'll talk to him and try to figure out what the best step for him is in his development so we can get him to where we expect him to be and where he thinks he should be.
Thank you.
Thomas Trance has got the next question.
Jim, happy birthday. From your perspective, do you see this in any way connected to your birthday? Like, is this is signing a prospect that you drafted? Do you connect that at all?
No, that's just the way it happened. It's a nice birthday present, though, knowing that he's signed and we got him under contract going forward because, we feel like he's going to be an important player for us.
And Jim, with the, transfer agreement essentially getting finalized, it seems you wasted no time. In terms of that process, waiting for some clarity with sort of those rules in play, how did that sort of unfold over the past, 2 months from your perspective?
Yeah, well, so we've been in contact with his agent and, going through the process. And, once the IIHF agreement was agreed upon and we got the green light to go ahead and sign those players, we agreed on a contract and got it finished off. Chris Gear, he did that negotiation with Al Waugh and did a real good job, I thought, from our perspective. And so we're excited to, get him signed and get him being part of our group going forward.
And Jim, with, the importance of cap management these days and having a player like Hoglander who has spent a couple of years in a men's league, obviously you want to be patient with prospects, but how crucial is it, whether it's Hoglander, whether it's Todd Colton, whether it's some of the other guys who you discussed already on this call, how important is it to potentially have them contributing to your NHL roster, at some point on those entry-level contracts, do you think?
Well, I think it's important for us because, we're going to try to get some of our UFA players signed. And, given the fact that, they're going to be unrestricted this summer, we're going to have to pay them market value to get them signed. And so, but on the other end of that, you got to make sure that you have, good young players that can play and contribute to, be cap compliant. So, I think we're getting to a point now where our depth pool of our prospects is real good, and we're developing some kids down in Utica that we're going to see in the next year or two. And so I'm happy with, the way we've drafted, the way we've developed, and, when these kids are ready to play, give them an opportunity to get in the lineup and show us what they can do.
Going to provide an opportunity for Ben Kuzma to ask a question.
A couple from me, Jim. I mean, you already had a pretty good read on Hoglander before you drafted him, and then he has the breakout tournament at the World Junior event with 11 points and 7 games, and he's playing feisty. He's elbowing guys. He even got suspended in his league. Did you know at the draft table, I mean, there was a lot of buzz about him maybe being a late first-round pick. Where did you have him pegged? I mean, you obviously got him at 40. I know it's a bit of a steal. Where did you guys have him ranked?
We had him rated at the bottom of the first round. Like we thought, he could end up going from the bottom of the first to midway through the second. So as the draft unfolded and he fell to us, like we were excited. He was a guy that I think the majority of all of our scouts really liked him a lot. They've seen him at different times in his draft year, and his like I was talking about, his ability to protect the puck, to want to protect the puck, to play in traffic. So even though he plays a hard game, and he's strong on the puck, and like Petey knows him from over in Sweden, and I even asked Petey before the draft, like his thoughts on him, and he knew him, and he thought he was going to be a real good player. So the fact that he fell to us, I think maybe we were a little bit lucky, but I'm happy that we got him, and he's part of our group.
With all the attributes he has, and it's really intriguing for a smaller player to play, not just with the speed and the playmaking ability, but to play with that edge and feistiness as well. When you see him execute or try to execute the lacrosse goal, what are you thinking? Are you thinking that's great, or are you thinking what are you doing? I mean, what did you think when you saw that?
Well, it's just part of this new generation of players that they can do so many different things with the puck, and they got so much confidence in being able to do a move like that and try a move like that. And I think as we keep going forward, we're going to see that more and more. You see these videos these guys make of bouncing the puck around, and it's almost like a soccer ball now, where they can keep it up in the air and flip it around and do all these different things. So it's just one of the things. We know he's got good hands. We know he's got quick hands, and obviously he's worked on that and was able to pull it off.
One last quick thing from me, Jim, just some housekeeping business here. The agent for Matthias Brome said that he was really pushing his client to come to Vancouver. He signed with Detroit. Obviously, there was a level of interest there on your part. Is it disappointing, or how do you compartmentalize his decision to go to Detroit as opposed to coming here?
Well, he's an unrestricted player, so at the end of the day, we made our pitch, and he decided that for him the right fit was Detroit, and so I'm happy that he's chosen a team that you think he's going to get an opportunity to play for and be successful with. So that's just part of the whole process of these unrestricted guys, is that you talk to them, you try to sell them on what you're trying to build going forward with a competitive young team, but at the end of the day they have to decide if they want to be part of our organization or somebody else's.
Thanks, Jim.
Sure.
Jeff Patterson's got the next question.
Hi, Jim. As you
Hey, Jeff.
sign a prospect like Hoglander today, I know I had asked you the other day about the young stars. Are you any further ahead? Do you know, just given all the uncertainty in the world right now, like, is it still on as we sit here today?
Yeah, so you sent me that text the other day. I talked to some of our people. As of right now, it's not canceled, but given the current conditions on what's going on, that there's probably a good chance it's going to be. We just haven't officially canceled it yet.
Okay. And the other one is, what is the status with Judd Brackett as you work to the end of the hockey year here? It would seem that time is ticking if you were going to get a deal done. And I know when we've asked in the past, there were other things in the way, but is Judd a part of this group moving forward?
Well, we're going to continue to talk to Judd and, just see where it all ends up. But, right now he's part of our group, and, we're going to start doing Zoom videos with the draft picks for this upcoming draft, and he's part of the process. So, that's really all we have for right now.
All right. Thanks.
Jay Janower's got the next question here.
Jim, hope you and your family are doing out with us today, and happy birthday as well. Can you bring us up to speed, especially hockey fans in this province? My understanding is the general managers have had a handful of conversations with the league in regards to the season itself. What is the status of resuming the NHL season? I know mid-May has been talked about. Can you bring us to get up to date with some of the ideas that are being bandied about, and will we see hockey played at Rogers Arena?
Well, those are all questions that I wish I had the answers for, but right now I don't. There's a lot of unknowns like right now, and we're just, like everybody else, going to listen to the government officials to, kind of guide us as to when it's safe to open up, dressing rooms and get players back training again. And I know Gary Bettman and Bill Daly and Coley Campbell and Don Fair are talking every day and making plans, and and with those plans is contingent plans that they talk to the general managers about, but we have nothing new to report. We're just taking it day by day, and hopefully we can get through this, and once we do, then things will open up again and we'll start playing again. But we don't have any firm answers as to when that's going to be. We're just like everybody else. We're just hoping that we can try to figure out a way to get through this, and the businesses can start opening. We can start opening dressing rooms and having our players train, and then we'll go from there.
Jim, the NHL has resisted canceling the regular season, and speaking with people, it seems like they're intent on finishing the regular season as well as having playoffs. Are you under that impression as well, that we will see hockey at some point, regardless when it starts?
Yeah, that's the impression I get. Every couple of weeks we have general managers calls with the league, and they instruct us. But the impression I get is once it's safe to get back up and going again, that we're going to finish off the regular season and then do the playoffs.
And last question, Jim, can you bring us up to date with Josh Levo? I know he was coming along, as well as I know we spoke with Jacob last week, but some of your injured players, might you be getting them back? Michael Furlan possibly. Can you bring us up to speed with those guys?
Well, on some of them I can. So I talked to Michael Furlan last week, and he's doing well. He's training, and if we were to start here later on in the summer, I think he's going to be at 100% and going to be able to come back and play. Jacob Markstrom's been cleared to play, and he's just continuing to train in Sweden. Chris Tanev is cleared to play, and just continuing his workouts. And then Josh Levo is he's doing his rehab. That was a tough injury he had, and he's doing his rehab and can continue to do that, and then we'll just see where he's at.
Thanks, Jim.
Next, we have Brendan Batchelor.
Jim, just wondering if you have an update on contract talks with Jacob Markstrom, and maybe just an overall comment on how challenging business like that can be with a situation like this where the future is so uncertain.
Well, I've been talking to his agent, but we really haven't been talking contract or anything, with the uncertainty of we don't know, what the cap's going to look like next year. What if we're going to, be able to finish off this season? There's just too many unknowns right now. So, I've been in contact with, all their agents, and Chris Tanev and Tyler Toffoli, and just say, like, we want to try to figure something out to get their clients to come back, but we're just in a holding pattern right now. So as soon as we have a better idea or a better understanding of where we're going to be next year, and what the cap's going to be at, then we'll go hard at trying to get those guys figured out.
We'll go to Joshua Clipperton.
Hey, Jim, happy birthday, and thanks for doing this. You're obviously a big scouting guy. How tough is it to miss, the under-18s and the CHL playoffs, and obviously the Memorial Cup, heading into the draft and all the interviews you're going to do? Is it going to probably, you're not going to have the most complete picture that you might have of prospects in a normal year?
Well, it's just we don't get to know the players like we usually do on a typical year. By seeing them at the under-18, the World Junior, it's another viewing, especially with the European players. We get to see them, another 4 or 5 times. And then missing the combine where you get to meet the players and then you see how they test out and, if there's any medical issues or anything, we hear about it, we know about it. So we're going to have to do more work this year. Like, we're going to be doing Zoom videos and be doing our interviews that way. Our list, it's not going to change too much. We see the players. We've got a good book of business on them. We've seen them, 3/4 way through the year. It's always nice to see how players perform in the playoffs. That's a big part, I think, of, finding players that are winners. And, when it gets hard in the playoffs, if they step up and they take the leadership to carry their teams to, winning playoff series or winning championships. So, we're going to miss out on all that. So, but it is what it is. We're just like everybody else. We're just trying to do the best we can under the circumstances to, get to know the players and, know and try to figure out what they're going to be in 3 or 4 years' time.
Did you watch the NFL draft to see how they handled the remote, the online nature of it, in case that's how you guys have to do it?
Yeah, I rather enjoyed watching the NFL draft this year. I liked Bill Belichick when they showed the video on him and his dog was there making the picks. I thought that was, but I thought they did a good job with it. I thought they're the human story behind the players and, even, the coaches and the managers and stuff. Like, I ended up watching all 3 days and really enjoyed it.
Great. Thanks again for doing this.
We'll go to Thomas Strantz.
Jim, just one more for me. Since the suspension of league play, you've been able to sign the likes of Lockwood and now Hoglander. In terms of an update on how conversations have gone with, other sort of players that you've drafted, guys like Jack Rathbone and Carson Falk, have there been any further talks with those players? Yeah,
we've had conversations with both the players. And, we're going to continue to talk to the agents and, just try to figure out what the objective of each player is. And it's different. Faut, we'd like to try to get him signed and we're going to continue to work on that. But with Jack, he's got to make a decision to leave school. And so he's, going through a period where he's talking to his family about that. And, if he decides that he wants to leave school, well then, we want to get him signed. And, but he also could decide that he wants to go back for 1 more year. So we'll just continue to, build a relationship with him. And if he goes back for 1 more year, we'll get him signed hopefully next summer.
Thanks, Jim.
We have Rob Williams, Daily Hive.
Hi, Jim. What is your level of interest in signing Nikita Trampkin, and what do you think his ceiling is as a player at this stage of his career?
So we've had conversations with Nikita's agent, and we've told him, we'd like to try to figure something out to get him back in the fold for next year. But we're in a holding pattern right now. So as we, get more information or we know more, that's going to happen for next year, then we'll continue those talks. But when the time comes, we want to, try to figure out a way to get him back here and get him playing as part of our group.
And
his ceiling for me is, he's a big, obviously we know he's a big player that, for his size, he's a good skater and has good mobility. like we have always looked at him as kind of a shutdown guy that's going to be strong in the corners in front of the net, but yet he's got the skating and the ability to beat the first forechecker and turn and get the puck up ice. Over that course of that year that he played with us, there was times when he looked like he was really going to take the next step, with his physical play. That I still remember that last game against Edmonton where he scored a goal on a one-timer there from the point, and another time in the game he took the puck and skated through their whole team and had a good shot on net, and I think he had a real good hit on Taylor Hall that game too. So, he has the ability to, do a lot of things for a player his size. So, where his ceiling is, I don't know. Like that's a question. He's going to have to come back and get acclimated to, playing on the smaller ice sheet again, and if he can keep developing like he was when he was here that first year, we think he could be a real good player for us.